I'm Georgia Alfredas.
And I'm Dave Mathews, and this is What's Next Wall Street.
This is a show about winning trades.
That's right, we're here to help you learn about trading in a fun, entertaining, and most importantly, a useful way.
So we're going to talk about all the hot new trending products and services that we think you'll not only want to use, but also invest in.
That's right, we're also going to cover the fundamentals of those companies to make you an informed trader and make it easier to target investment potential. Plus, we'll share our thoughts on where the charts and indicators say a particular stock is going.
All this info can help you create a tailored trade plan. Now, we're going to keep you up to speed on what's next on Wall Street so that you can stack your gains.
You told me I couldn't say it with you before, but I'll do it next time. Hey, you can email us at OptionsPlayers.com or hit us up on social media at What's Next Wall Street with your questions. We can also direct you to the instructors and experts over at OptionsPlayers.com who dig into those financial fundamentals.
Yes,
and that's
sirs.
it.
Yes,
www
sirs.
at OptionsPlayers.com.
That's right. Stock Minute.
Let's
Time
do
for
it.
the Stock Minute. All right, so Verizon is selling its media group, which includes AOL and Yahoo, for $5 billion.
Yeah,
right?
Georgia, this is unbelievably, how many times has this entity been sold? The private equity group Apollo Global Management will pick up the company, while Verizon keeps a 10% stake. Verizon and Apollo say they expect the transaction to close in the second half of this year. The sale signals Verizon will focus on its internet business as rivals continue to explore media businesses.
Meanwhile, JayZ is adding more wealth to his net worth like he and Beyonce don't have enough. Hova just sold a majority of the digital streaming platform Tidal to Square and Twitter CEO Jack Dorsey. Now, according to reports, Jay sold the streaming platform for a cool $350 million. Now, the news comes after Dorsey announced his plans to buy Tidal back in March.
I think, Dorsey just wanted to buy some friends.
Aww. All right, so this is the part of the show where we get to hear from you. So you can always hit us up on social media at What's Next Wall Street or email us at WNW@OptionsPlayers.com.
And our first email comes from Rich in Rockville, Maryland. Rich asks, what is a mental stop? I've got one of those. And when is it more appropriate than a regular stop? Well, Rich, that's a great question. Mental stops are the points where someone plans to sell the stock or option when it reaches a designated price in your mind, hence mentally, but it does not enter a predetermined order. It's your mental plan and not the order. The benefit of a mental stop is it avoids putting it in a public order or an actual triggering event, which could possibly be hunted by market makers, other traders, or anyone privy to information. And they'll act on it before you, making your little order a lower hanging fruit. Now, this has been done with sites like Robinhood, which blew my mind. Now, the caveat is one must follow their mental stop or you can cause more harm than good, meaning if you think about it and do it, you better do it quickly. Now, we utilize mental stops when possible.
Yeah. So this next email comes from Chris in Waco, Texas. Chris writes, besides stocks and options, what other investments are great for diversification? So this is a good question, and it's going to take a few conversations with your financial advisor to properly decide what's best for your situation. But these days, folks are really getting into tax-free municipal bonds, crypto, metals like gold and silver. This ain't real gold, though. And even sports cards.
Gold on a rope.
Art. Yes. It really depends on your risk tolerance. So your goals, your time horizon. So be prepared to discuss those items when broaching the subject. It's a really good question and one you should definitely be discussing with your FA. I mean, I'm not trying to pass.
You mean your final exam?
No, your financial advisor.
Oh, okay.
I'm not trying to pass the buck. I'm just saying I don't know what interests you, and when it comes to diversifying and all that stuff, that is an important element here. So remember, if we use your email on air, you get one of these really cool What's Next Wall Street tees. You got to cut it yourself, though. I can make it cool.
Nice.
Yeah, thanks.
All right. Today's What's Next Wall Street pro tip is brought to you by OptionsPlayers.com. One exercise we suggest.
See how we got to fire that
Well, one exercise we suggest for new traders is to create a spreadsheet that prognosticates normal target gains over time. That's easier for me to say than you. Putting tangible goals on paper and seeing what normal production and account management will yield should help new traders extinguish those bad habits. If you can stack and protect, meaning hold on to that money, then you will succeed wildly in this crazy game.
Yeah, stack your gains. We've been telling you all day. Yeah, so email us at WNW@OptionsPlayers.com with your results from this tip and anything else. That's another way to get this cool OptionsPlayers.com tee.
There you go.
I'm really trying to sell these. Yeah. I know. Like, we must have got a real
Get our
deal.
merch.
I know.
Ring that bell. How about today's Tech Minute?
Yeah, anytime.
All right, so we talked about Apple Airtags a couple weeks ago. Now, this was a highly anticipated launch of this key fob, minus the fob, of course. That's an accessory.
Okay, wait. You don't have any way to attach it to your stuff, right? You mean how they sell a phone without a headphone jack and need a dangle?
Yeah, even a dongle for this. Now, this is an X-ray of the Apple AirTag.
Wow.
Now, AirTags use Bluetooth Low Energy to announce they're present as a series of numbers, kind of like an NFT, to any nearby iOS devices. Now, we first caught wind of this with the iPhone 11 running iOS 13, which is when Apple's U1 chip, which has two steerable antennas called Diversity, so you can actually like radio in on whether it's left or right of you. Blows my mind.
Wow.
Now, Apple always puts privacy first no matter what they do, and this product is no different, as the location of the tag is known by Apple, but the network or whoever uploaded the whereabouts is not known. So what this means is no one ever knows which device actually located your AirTag, not even Apple.
Wow.
So if someone slips you this, it's about the size of 75 cents worth of quarters. If someone slips this into your bag roguely with you, then your phone will alert and it'll report something's being, walking with you, and it'll report that it could violate your privacy and you can turn it off. Oh. So this is why Apple's a complete leader in this.
So I can't sneak this into my 15-year-old's backpack without him knowing? Is that what you're saying?
That's true. He'll get an alert. Damn. Now, the road to success is riddled with failure. And if you look here, these are all the companies before the AirTag. So it started with Stick and Find, which was a Kickstarter product. I actually used this company for beacons with my company. We put them on ice cream cabinets so you get alert when there was ice cream nearby. We could do a lot of cool stuff. This was later called the iBeacon protocol. But there's another one that goes into your wallet. This one's really slim. This one can go in another purse or backpack. This one has a cellular phone built into it. So this one actually doesn't need another phone nearby. Here's the Apple AirTag. And by the way, you saw from that X-ray the inside, this whole face of it is a speaker. But the thing to watch is what Tile's doing. Now, Tile, they're the ones that sold millions of these devices as literal keychains, but they made it so the battery is not replaceable. Now, an AirTag runs for a year on a standard CR2032 battery. It's user replaceable, unlike Tile. Now, Tile's business model was battery obsolescence, which is terrible for landfills, but they did at least try and get you to recycle them, meaning that Tile required you to mail them in when they quit working, which was around a year. You'd then be coerced into buying a new one for another 20 bucks versus a battery, which is like $5.
Yeah.
But Tile was stymied by limitations of the operating system it relied on, and it was controlled by
Apple.
Yeah, you guessed it, Apple. And it's getting into a bit of hot water with the government. Apple said that Tile can be a part of the Find My network, which, by the way, the AirTags show up with Find My Friends, Find My Mac, Find My Watch. It's really cool that it's all integrated into one app. But the specific licensing on this means that not everyone wants to do what Apple requires them to do. In fact, this got Epic Games kicked out of the store for going around those limitations so that they wouldn't be required to pay what Apple insiders call the Apple tax. Now, we're going to keep you up to date on those hearings as well, so keep tuning into What's Next Wall Street for that. So the AirTags can slip into your pocket or your backpack and offer some water resistance, including submersion for an undisclosed amount of time. Apple's offering many accessories that seem nicely designed, although a little bit pricey, like leather straps for bags, luggage tags, and key rings. We anticipate a high adoption rate for these AirTags, which will also increase Apple's recurring monthly revenue service. And, service is what Apple's all about now, and so the revenue's through the roof.
I have a question. I'm starting to wonder about you. I've known you for like 20 years, but what are you doing with all these tags? Are you some kind of stalker?
No.
When somebody says no, like that,
why would I do
they really mean yes, I am.
I've never beaconed anyone, except ice cream cabinets, and that was a really cool project. Email me that if you want to see the videos on that.
Okay, well, you got 50 of these, and I don't know why you got all those. It's weird.
It's all business.
Okay, Okay, this is exciting to some. Colleges and universities across New York are offering new courses about cannabis management now that pot is legal in the state. Now, Excelsior College has just started offering a marijuana master's degree that ends with students getting a certificate in cannabis control. Who would have thunk? SUNY, that's Syracuse University, New York, says 10 of its campuses are offering pot-based courses for students who want to be into the marijuana management. Can you imagine telling your mom, yeah, mom, I'm going to go to college and I just want to study, I want to learn about weed. Are you serious? SUNY's Farmingdale campus offers up a cannabis production and management certificate. Now, NYU's Stern School Business reports it started a cannabis program for students and alumni who want to meet and learn from the pot industry professionals as well. So you know what happens at that meet and greet. Who's got brownies?
Hey, Georgia, speaking of pot, did you see this?
What?
A remote canyon in Death Valley National Park is closed off after a 40-acre pot farm was found. And it's not the first either. This illegal grow site is one of hundreds spotted over the last decade. A ranger found it tucked away near the border between California and Nevada. Experts say damaging the natural and cultural resources in these areas for profit shows incredible disrespect for our homeland.
Somehow I don't think they were thinking about that.
Yeah,
okay. Right. Okay, so back to legal pot. The legal cannabis market could soon be worth more than the GDP of 9 states. It's crazy, with the market projected to hit $66 billion with a B in the next 5 years. Wall Street thinks the industry is going to grow as much as 800% during that 5-year period. I want to know more, so not kind of like weed, but I'm just saying, joining us
business
is
of
Greg
weed.
Krause. Yes, Greg Krause, welcome to the show, Greg. Okay, Greg, what is driving this marijuana growth? No pun intended. And how do we invest, or should we even invest?
Well, what's growing it is the states are allowing it, either full legalization or for medical purposes or whatnot. I think after the last election, there was even more that were going to allow it. I know that I can't think of the actual state. Maybe it's Nebraska or Kansas. That's like the only one where there's like absolutely no, it's not allowed at all. Now, what to invest in is a little bit different because it's hard to really explain unless. So let's break down the marijuana or cannabis industry into 2 sectors. You have the ones that are actually growing it, and then you have, let's say, the retailer or the packaging goods ones. So you got the people growing the weed, and then you got the people turning the weed into gummy bears. Okay, let's just say that.
Okay.
Great SNL skit, by the way.
Yeah. Great one. So I think the money in the long term is going to be the packagers, right? You look at potato farmers. I know that's not what you want to talk about when you're talking about weed, but this is how I'm going to explain it. It is potatoes is a homogeneous product, right? So everyone's growing the same actual product, very slight variances. And I understand that cannabis can have different variances and they're growing, but everyone understands what it is. There's large numbers of people that are going to end up growing it. So the margin for those are going to be near the cost to grow. There's just going to be too many people that are going to grow it. The only thing that might change that would be the government. So I don't see a lot of profit from the growers in the long term. Now, the suppliers, on the other hand, are a little different. So we talk about potatoes. You ain't making no money growing potatoes.
Right.
But you can make money selling potatoes. Just ask PepsiCo, or they own Lay's. They sell more potato chips, than just them alone probably making 8 billion profit a year, and that's not even the revenue, which is
you need that salty snack in order to drink the soda.
It's true, and so, you know what happens when you smoke weed? I hear you get hungry.
Then it's a salty snack.
You got the potatoes, so you got the chips.
It's a cycle.
So I would break it into 2 of those, and how do you invest in those? Is I believe EFTs. All right, so your electronic funded changes. So you find one of those that really worked really good, that you like. There's about 10 I know of. I'm not a big follower in this sector per se, but I do have members that ask questions about this quite often. And you're looking for packaging people. You have like Green Thumb. I think they're out of Vancouver and Chicago. They've been growing pretty good lately, and they're a packaging company more than a growing one. And then normally you'll see some cool names for the growers because, these aren't regular cultivating where they're throwing them out in the fields, right? So, a lot of them are hydroponic or in greenhouses and things like that. So,
So, Greg, what blew my mind with this business is it might be legal to sell marijuana, but federal laws still prohibit things like banking and financial, stability that most investable fiduciary responsibility companies require. When's that going to change?
Well, whoa. All right. So I'm a equities guy, not a lawyer, but I do think that is the problem. Is it's a federal, right? So when you're talking about using funds and going across
state lines,
that's when it's going to become a real issue. I don't think it'll be long before it's done because you're going to tax it, and then the federal government's going to want their tax, right? So I think when that comes in, it's going to get taxed. So the federal government's going to have to allow it to do that. But I think it's one of those things is before it becomes, I think it will become legal when they put systems around it. And I don't just mean, like a DUI test or something. I mean, how do they regulate it? How do they say how much is grown? You look at the government, it's about how they can control everything. I'm not dogging the government, but that's normally when they allow it to come in. So EFTs, and the reason why I say those to get EFTs, and basically this is a bunch of companies in together, is you never know when the United States government is going after one of these companies. And if you're invested in just one or two of them and they hit one, you take a larger hit than if you have it in, say, 10 companies.
No pun intended about the larger hit. Yeah. Not that I know anything about marijuana terms, but I'm just saying. I'm sorry, carry on.
I'm not throwing puns around here, though. And on the education part, I think that's the craziest thing. I just want to put that out there. You can go talk to whoever you want to about getting your degree. I don't think getting a degree in cannabis, I would like to see, since it's not federally legal, right? What's the accreditation to that degree?
Good question.
So
even Vice has a show, Cooking with Weed, right? And next thing you know, Martha Stewart's going to be a guest on it because she's already in bed with Snoop.
Yeah, she and Snoop are buddies. To your point, it doesn't make. I don't get it.
Yeah. So I would be very cautious of looking at for-profit universities that are offering this degree. I do know there are some not-for-profit ones, but I would actually talk to someone, maybe not, someone at that college that's offering it, about other approaches, because it's a very narrow field. If you get your degree in cannabis, right? You
can't be a teacher.
I wouldn't hire you. Right? But then you couldn't go work for somewhere else. Well, if you had, if you're trying to work in the packaging side and that's the business you want to be in, that's fine. Get a minor in it or whatnot, and then focus on marketing or a business or something like that. Versus if you're trying to be more of the cultivator or the grower, I would, go into some form of biology. I'm not, or agriculture studies, because you're going to learn what makes everything work. Versus if you're trying to make new strains or something, probably some type of chemistry and biology mix. That way, let's just say the federal government in 8 years decides, no, your degree is not worthless.
Right.
And like I said, potatoes. Who do you think is going to make more money?
The grower or the packager, of course.
Well, even if you're in the growing side, I don't think marijuana is going to be paying people so much money versus, other crops, say like potatoes or, they're coming out with new strains and everything for drought and all across the world. And that's where, so you have a little bit of that into it also.
I think if you want an MBA in this whole thing, all you need to do is watch South Park. They summarize everything so well. Integrity Farms episode is the one you have to watch.
But look at this. Look what we said. Who would have thought that you could get degrees in gaming? And so, I don't know. If I got a kid sitting at home and he's 17 and all he does is smoke weed every day, I'm like, listen, now there's a place for you. You can actually go to college and get a degree in what you love, Well,
I grew up playing video games, the Atari 2600, and I designed a game and I got paid. It bought me a nice M3 convertible.
See?
So
there you go.
You can do this. But Greg, so I wonder, I'm a wine guy. I've got investments in wine, not only wine that I drink, but also wine with money investment, like that literally pays dividends. But when you read the bottle of a wine, they talk about the bouquet, and they talk about the flavors and the chocolate and all this stuff. As part of this degree, I wonder if they're giving you all the nonsense phrasing to write on the side of this smells of lilac and
yes. And how do you package weed? I don't know.
So that's it. You just hit the nail on the head there. We need to come up with our own university that certifies individuals to be a cannabis sommelier. You know what I'm saying?
I love it. I love it, Greg.
The level 6
is coming from the Colorado district.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
By the time you get to level 6, you're just like, you don't even get out of bed. You're just like,
exactly.
You're down for the count.
Greg, thank you so much for coming on the show today. And of course, people can hit you up at OptionsPlayers.com. Greg at OptionsPlayers.com. You are fantastic. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, and we'd love to hear from. Thank you. So we'd love to hear from you as well. Hit us up at What's Next Wall Street or WNW at OptionsPlayers.com and let us know what's going on in your mind with investments and maybe the degree program that you're going into.
Yeah.
I'm Dave Mathews.
I'll send you a t-shirt if you do. I don't know what it is to me in these t-shirts. And I'm George Alfredas. We'll see you next time on What's Next Wall Street. Are we high?
Never. No. On life.
Yes, on life, right here.